Everybody, this is Steven Butler, and I am at Port City Comics right now, local comic book shop, and I thought that I would do something a little bit different today. I think I'm going to be creating a character for you to see for the first time here on video. I've never done it before, but hey, sounds like something that would be fun to do, and if you're up for it, then I invite you to come in and watch me as I create this character for you in sorta real time. Let's go. Okay, going into this sketch that you're seeing here, maybe I should give you guys a little bit of clarification on exactly why I decided to do this video of drawing this or creating, excuse me, this new character. It didn't just happen like at the spur of the moment. Oh, I feel like I'm just going to create a new character. Actually, I was approached a while back by a friend of mine who runs a comic store to if I would be interested in creating like a horror anthology type of title where I would like basically package it for him to publish. And I gave it a lot of thought, and I'm like, do I really have time to do this? I got my own stuff that I've been wanting to do. But whenever he said horror anthology, I said, or would it be something like along the lines of like creepy and eerie, like Warren magazines and the type of magazines that I grew up reading and loving? And he said, that's exactly what I'm looking for. And I said, would you be wanting like a host type, like a creepy or eerie, or even like a vampirella type of character, a person that would actually tell the stories? And he's talking about like doing short stories, like 6, 7, 8 page stories, and having 5 or 6 of them in a book. And the more I thought about it, the more it appealed to me, and I started getting ideas of the type of character to do, like a we called them ghost hosts whenever I was a kid, but I grew up reading a lot of the horror, the spooky anthologies. I'm just always have been into that type of thing. Not so much the like slasher material or anything like that, but the stuff that's real atmospheric and real moody and just tells basically ghost and monster stories. Because what artist doesn't like to draw monsters? I know I'm one myself. So you can see as I'm drawing her here now, it's a female I chose to do, and I thought about what she would look like, and kind of sort of had an idea in my mind of the kind of character that she would be. And basically that's what you're seeing me do here as I'm penciling this out and drawing it out in pencil. And this is going to be the whole deal. I'll be taking it from pencils to inks, and you can see me now getting out my inking materials, and I'm starting to ink. And you can see I'm using a lot of these are brush pens that I get from a company called jetpens.com. I used to ink with crow-quill pens, dip pens that you would dip into ink, and then brushes that you would dip in ink. But whenever I found out about that these pens existed, and they all have archival ink in them, waterproof ink, and so you can color over them. You can do, like if I wanted to do this in an ink wash, I could ink wash over it, and it wouldn't smear, or it wouldn't bleed like like if I would just use a regular like ballpoint pen or something like that. And so since I found out about these things, I've never went back to because they can give me the same kind of line that I would get if I were using a brush and pen or like a crow-quill pen dipped in ink. You can see here I'm drawing her dress, and one of the things I wanted to do was create a character that had that had like something about her, whether it was wings or whether it was a dress or a cape or something like that, that would almost be like alive, and could you can do a lot of stuff visually with that. I've always liked drawing characters that had capes, not so much for any other reason except that you can do a lot with them. The folds and the way they flow in the wind or whatever. And in this case, this one would be something that would be like it was part of her, like it was alive, kind of like a Spawn's cape, or I guess Doctor Strange from the movie Doctor Strange, like basically like his cape, something that's alive in and of itself. And so that's why I decided to do this. And I didn't do a cape because I just wanted to do something different. I wanted this character to be different than a lot of other characters that I've seen out there. And I decided to give her she's our hostess, and she lives in an old haunted mansion that has a big library in it, and it's her goal, it's her job, it's her thing to recount these stories. And there will be a backstory, there will be a reason why she has to do it, or why she decides to do it, or chooses to do it, or whatever. And that'll be part of the story, the actual stories, because she'll have her own story instead of just introducing the stories, because she needs to have a backstory of her own. I think that's important. So anyway, this is me using my brush pens to ink the piece, and had a lot of fun doing this. I was doing it I was drawing this. That's why you see my hands moving around so much. I'm talking to people while I'm doing it. But the difference is here, I'm kind of creating as I'm drawing. I'm making decisions as I'm drawing. Basically, creating this character out of whole cloth right there that day at the shop. And the reason I decided to do it at the shop was because the store owner was the one who contacted me and asked me if I would be willing to do something like that. And I said, the best thing to do would be to actually sit down and draw it. And I could have done it here at home, like I'm at my home right now doing this voiceover, but I decided to do it at the shop because I wanted him to see what I had planned to do. And also I knew that once, and this might sound strange, but I don't think so, once I commit something to paper, once a thought, once an idea that's in my head becomes a reality, as in a drawing, it becomes something more real and more tangible, and also something that I'm tied to now. So it's like, this is going to be done now. Before it was just an idea, and everybody has hundreds of, I know I do, I have hundreds of ideas. In fact, just the other day, somebody had asked me, said, "Hey, is there any character out there that you have not gotten to draw in your 30-plus year career in comics?" And I said, yeah, plenty of them, and they're all in my head. They haven't been created yet. He thought I was going to say something like Thor or the X-Men or whatever. But no, I've already done pretty much done all that I set out to do in comics as far as that goes. I get to draw a lot of those characters in commission form, and so it's not I would rather spend my time creating my own stuff at this point in my career, and so therefore that's where this comes into play that you're seeing take place right now. I'm using a reference now. You can see me looking at my phone. I'm drawing this big iguana, which is her basically her pet, her guard, or the thing that she keeps in her castle, mansion, whatever it is that she eventually will be staying in, and he's basically her constant companion type of thing. And so I decided I wanted to create like an iguana. I thought about an alligator, but I said an iguana would probably think they would be fun to draw, especially those kind that have the spikes and stuff on their head. He kind of dinosaur looking like, and they're he's like a big monster, and I enjoy drawing monsters. So So I decided if I want to draw it, I want to draw it right. I don't want to just make it, make it up. I want it to be recognizable as an iguana. So you have to use reference for that type of thing to a certain point. I don't want to be the kind of artist that draws everything that I draw being a copy of a photograph. It's like, just take a picture if that's what you want to do. I would, but I totally am cool with using reference to give yourself a boost, to give yourself a point where you can take a taking off point, I guess would be the best way to put it. And so that's where this comes from. Thought that I would tell you a little bit about my childhood, maybe, because it explains why I like to do this type of thing. And I'm not talking about drawing. I'm talking about the subject matter here. Why did the whole horror genre appeal to me to start with? And I am a child of this. Well, I was born in the '60s, but I grew up in the '70s, and I had some cool parents. I mean, people say, "Oh, did they let you read that kind of stuff?" A lot of parents wouldn't let their kids read, horror type stuff whenever they were growing up. But I guess my parents were cool like that. They I had an older sister, much older sister. In fact, there was like a 17-year gap between her and me. It was just me and her, and her name was Shirley. She's passed on now, as both my mom and dad, and my sister Shirley and her husband have all passed on now. But she would read comics whenever I was a kid, but she couldn't stand superheroes. So she would buy these magazines, the creepy and eerie magazines, Vampirella, and several more. There was a lot of different Dracula, Dracula Lives, and several more magazines. Marvel put a lot of them out, Tales of the Zombie, and that type of thing. And she would read them, but she wasn't a collector. She just read them to read them, and then once she was done, she would give them to me, and I would read that stuff, and really got into it, and really liked the type of stories. It also gave me an appreciation of the short form story, because that's how these things were presented, as 6, 7, 8 pages tops for most of these, and they weren't continued. They were one and done type stories, and I really enjoyed reading those whenever I was a kid. Another reason that I enjoyed these types of stories so much is because I spent a lot of time at my grandmother's place, and she lived in this really old turn of the century wood framed house with a tin roof. That would the wind would howl across it in the nighttime. It was a spooky place to grow up in, but it became like commonplace for me, and it gave me an appreciation of, I guess, all things macabre or whatever. Plus, my grandma, she was one cool cat, I guess you would call her. I'll have to tell you stories about her. Some of my experiences living in the house in another video, but suffice it to say that I got a lot of my ideas for the stories that I do now from my childhood, living with my grandmother. And I remember, reading a lot of the magazines over while I was staying overnight at her house, which was literally pretty much every weekend. So anyway, we're coming to the end of this video, and I haven't even told you the character's name, or even what I'm going to be doing this for. You see me now, I'm like putting on some details, cleaning it up with cleaning the piece up with whiteout pens and erasers. But this is the character. Her name is Mistress Ruby, and she will be the hostess for a new comic book series that myself and my daughter Lily will be packaging. Not right away, it's in the future, but I wanted you guys to see this first drawing that I did of her. She will be the star and the hostess for a new comic book series called Crimson Shadows. And this is her pet iguana character. His name is Abraxas. And so Mistress Ruby and Abraxas will be coming your way. Look for updates as we go on. This is a new thing for me, creating on video. I hope you've enjoyed this look into the creation of a new character, and I will be talking to you soon. See you later. Take care. Bye-bye.